Hello again, everyone. So, continuing with Florida Week, I'm going to look at the Orlando Magic today, and I might be giving some shout-outs to some of the fellow guys who I've been working with greenrunsdeep.com, which is the Celtics fan page that I've written a few articles for, done a podcast with, and really enjoy working with those guys. Some great basketball minds in that group. So if you're not following them yet, you can follow them on Twitter at CelticsNation5 and check out their YouTube account and greenrunsdeep.com, and you can check the podcasts. They're all in there. A lot of different guys are always in there, so we're getting our voice out for any Celtics fans out there and just general basketball fans. Being from Canada, I am a Raptors fan myself, but Kelly Olynyk is the Canadian on the Celtics roster, and I like watching Canadian talent in the NBA as well. So that's why I've been doing some work with them. So again, I'm going to be giving some shout-outs to some of the guys I've been working with the Celtics and the Celtics Nation 5 Twitter account and Green Runs Deep and everything there. So if you're not following them yet, I do encourage you to do it. You'll hear me the odd time, but you hear a lot of other great basketball guys and sports fans out there as well. So looking at this at the Magic, they play in the Southeast, which is pretty weak division kind of thing. First of all, they're playing the Eastern Conference, which we know is weak. Outside of the Atlantic, I think the Southeast is just as weak, if not maybe even weaker. I know the Hawks, yes, had a 60-win season, and were the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. Wizards got in there with the 5th seed with a 46-36 record. And then you got the Heat and the Hornets and the Magic. The Heat just missed out on the playoffs with the 10th seed, same with the Hornets at the 11th seed, and then the Magic were 13th. In the East, so that's what's led to them getting the number 5 overall pick, and that's where I'll be giving my shout-outs at, because that's kind of what we've been discussing, is who we think the Magic are going to take with that 5th pick. But like I said, looking at that Southeast division, it's pretty weak. I think the Hawks kind of showed that they're not a championship caliber team because they don't have that 1-2 punch. I think the Cavaliers were able to show that the Hawks have a great roster, don't get me wrong, great group of guys there. They just don't have a star. Who can lead a team and can go out there and get you 25 points a night. They got a ton of guys that can get 15 to 20 points a night there in Atlanta, but not that one guy that can go out and have a 25-plus point night on a regular basis. The Wizards, I think, are an up-and-coming team. I think they had a bit of a surprise when they swept the Raptors. Again, I don't think the Raptors are quite there yet. They got some good pieces there, but they're not quite there yet. And same with the Wizards. I think Beal and Wall can be a great backcourt for the Wizards for years to come. So I definitely expect to see them in the playoffs again next year. Heat, kind of, one of those bubble teams. We'll see what happens with them there. Dwayne Wade obviously can't lead a team by himself. He shows that, and James isn't there anymore. Wade, I think, just needs somebody who can complement him, and then they can have another solid 1-2 punch there. Hornets, not really sure what will happen with them, but the Magic, like I said, 13th, last in the division with a 25-57 record, not that great. But I'm going to call it now. I do think the Magic have the young talent. If they can get the right coach to lead this tribe, this group of guys, I could easily see them making the playoffs next season. And I know that's crazy to say, going from being one of the bottom teams in the league to a playoff team in one season is a stretch, but I think they have the talent that can have that happen, especially depending on who they bring in with this number 5 pick. So looking at that number 5 pick, my buddy Josh, you follow him on Twitter at NotJoshKnapp, Knapp for that. He's thinking that they'll draft Steen, at least a power forward or a center with that pick, and he's thinking it'll be Steen. Another buddy of mine, Greg with Green Runs Deep, you can follow him on Twitter at 2 Cent Tuesday. He's thinking that if Harris stays, they're still going to go for a big, and that he's thinking maybe they go for Winslow or Stanley Johnson. So those are kind of some of the guys I'm working with, some of their ideas with that number 5 pick. I do think that their guard position is solid with Payton and Oladipo. You got a rookie in Payton. Oladipo just had his second year in the league. I think your guard position is solid. Those two guys are going to continue to grow and develop. If Harris stays, you got a great forward there, and Vucevic is one of the top 10 centers in the league, maybe even top 5 centers in the league. I've recently read on one Bleacher Report that has him ranked 6th in the league at the center position. So I definitely think Vucevic can be a top 5 center in this whole league. Definitely top 5 in the East, and possibly the best center in all the teams in that division. Kind of thing with the Southeast. So that's the other thing that I think will maybe allow this Magic team to make the playoffs, as they do play in the Southeast. If you can win those games against the Hornets, the Heat, The Wizards are going to be probably the toughest team, I say, to beat in that division. For the Magic to beat of those 4 teams that they play against, I think the Wizards are going to be the toughest team to beat. I think they can beat the Hawks. I know the Hawks were number 1 ranked team in the East, 60-win season, but I think the Magic have the talent that they can beat the Hawks. I think the Wizards will actually be the team that'll be the challenge for them to have in that Southeast division. But like I said, looking at their roster, you got Oladipo and Payton at the guard position. Payton, rookie season, he played in all 82 games, started 63 of those, and he averaged 8.9 points per game, 4.3 boards, 6.5 assists. So that's solid. You want to have a guard who can have 5+ assists a night, and in a rookie season, he's already having 6.5. I think he can easily get up to 7.5, 8 assists per game in his second season in the league. Again, Oladipo at the other guard position just had his second season in the league, but he was averaging 17.9 points per game with 4.2 boards, 4.1 assists. So that's solid. You got a second-year player who's already almost up to 20 points a game. Payton, obviously, as a rookie playing on a struggling team. You're not going to expect him to come out and blow up the league and be putting in 20 points a night, because he doesn't have the supporting cast where he can do that kind of thing. Wiggins, obviously, I know did it with the Timberwolves and stuff, but Garnett comes in, you got a good veteran leader there, kind of thing. That's something the Magic, I think, also might want to try to find maybe through free agency, is maybe a guy that has some experience. I know they got Channing Frye, and I know they got Ridnour and Green, and they have guys there that are veterans, but maybe just a guy who can be a good leader, good veteran presence in that lineup, and who might be the second starting forward for them, kind of thing. And then let whoever they draft that 5th pick, come in and be a guy off the bench, kind of thing, for his first season in the league. So those are the 2 guard positions when you got Oladipo and Payton. Next, got Vucevic down low at the center position. Averaged 19.3 points per game, 10.9 boards, a couple assists. He is a center that you can build around, a guy you want down low who can be a beast on the boards. To be a successful team, I think, in the center position, you want a guy that can get you 10 boards a night, bare minimum. And that's what the elite centers do. That's what the good teams have, is a guy who's going to go out and get double-digit boards most nights, at least average that in his season. That's what Vucevic did. So he's solid. Harris at the 1 forward position, averaged 17.1 points per game with 6.3 boards and 1.8 assists, so that's solid. Played in 68 games, started 63 of those. Oladipo played 72, started all of those. Vucevic played in 74, started all of those. So those are the 4 that I think, if Harris stays, those are 4 of the 5 starting positions. Who they draft for that 5th pick, does he go into the starting rotation? I don't know. Maybe they find a guy through free agency, like I said, who can be a good veteran presence, who takes over that second forward position. Channing Frye would be the guy who played in 75 games, started 51 of those, so he would kind of be, looking at this past season, the number 2 forward on that team who started the most games. And he played okay, but he only averaged 7.3 points per game, 3.9 boards, and that's okay for a bench guy, not for a starter. So I think they need to find some veteran presence out there who can go out. It doesn't need to be a 20+ point per night guy. You can get that from Vucevic and Oladipo and Harris. You can get it from those 3 guys, but just a guy who can complement Vucevic on the board. Harris did have 6.3 a night, which is solid. So maybe go and find that veteran guy who can go and put out 12, 15 points a night, 8 boards, kind of something along those lines. I think would be a solid guy to have complement those other 4 to round out your starting 5. Looking at the bench, you got Fournier, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, played in 58 games, started 32 of those. He had 12 points a game, 2.6 boards, 2.1 assists, so that's solid there. You got O'Quinn, who played in 51 games, started 17. He had 5.8 points per game with 3.9 boards. So you have other guys there who can produce for you and get some points for the team. And you got a great young starting 4, like I said, with Harris, Oladipo, Payton at the guard position, Vucevic at your center position. They've all only played 3. Harris and Vucevic are just coming off their 3rd year in the league. Oladipo just a second, and Payton was a rookie. So you got 4 guys there who combined don't even have 10 years experience in the league yet. So you got a great young core there that is going to continue to grow, and if you can keep Harris and keep those 4 together, bring in a veteran guy who can be a good leader and help these guys develop and grow, get a solid number 5 pick and get a solid player with that number 5 pick, I think the Magic are going to to be a playoff team next season and continue to grow and be a contender in the East. Again, it is the East, a weaker conference, but I definitely see them being able to be one of the top 3 teams in their Southeast Division next season, possibly maybe even winning it. We'll see what happens. Don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I think they got a great young team. They get the right coach. They get maybe a veteran or 2 in free agency, draft a solid young player with that 5th overall pick who can mesh with these guys, and I think they'll have a successful future sooner rather than later. Thank you again all for watching. You can follow me on Twitter at GHAM614. I'll be finishing off this Florida week tomorrow with my look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, and then we'll be continuing staying in the state of Florida with a look at Tampa Bay teams next week. So thank you again all for watching. Bye-bye.